Hey folks, welcome back to Honey Money SG, and this is another episode of Talking to Myself, and maybe this time to react to myself. A few months ago I got a call from a journalist from Today to actually ask me how to actually tackle inflation and living within the means, or maybe some tips to save money during this kind of inflationary period. So I thought it was fun, go on the mainstream media, talk about some things that I truly care for, and also try to share some knowledge to the wider audience as well. So here goes, right? I think the main point of that article was to actually raise some difficulties faced by Singaporeans during this kind of inflationary environment, and some of the tips that may be shared by other kind of creators within the online space. So let's take a look at what other people talk about and maybe discuss the ideas behind it. Starting with tip number 1, which is to review finances regularly. Basically, the main idea is to really keep track of your expenses, ensure that there is no big outflow to luxury spending, and then keep your core spending really low or minimal, right? Because we don't really have much money to spend in this kind of inflation environment. So I actually see one comment from Kyith from Investment Moats, one of the most famous bloggers in the finance space of Singapore. So Kyith mentioned that it's good to actually separate expenses into two groups. One is your core expenses and one is your good to have expenses. So maybe your core expenses cannot be really reduced because these are inelastic demand, right? Like you still need to buy rice, you still need to buy oil, you still need to buy groceries. And then for those good to have expenses, then maybe you can cut down. These are more like your discretionary spending. Maybe you eat out at high-end restaurants too much in the past, you have to cut down a bit on that. I think that's a valid point, right? And then another contributor is Joel Cole from Sidley. He also mentioned that it's good to either reduce the quantity or quality for your good to have expenses, meaning your luxury expenses. Either you reduce the quality or you reduce the frequency or the quantity of times that you go for such indulgences. And some of the examples raised are your cable TV subscriptions or network subscriptions, right? Like your Disney Plus, your Netflix, your Amazon Prime, all these things. I don't even think that most people have time to watch now when everybody is going back to office. Or maybe people have become more hardworking ever since they returned to office, right? Because they need to earn more money. Maybe they went to do side hustles instead of staying at home to watch television. I think that's a valid point as well. The other example is gym memberships. Do you remember at the start of the pandemic, everyone was jogging out in the jogging tracks, your park connectors. You see, there is like a sudden craze of exercising, and then now everybody has to go back to office. Your gym membership, no one goes really, too busy at work. Where got time to go and exercise, right? So maybe you can cut back on that, do some exercises at home, in your indoors, in your bedroom. I think it's a good cost saving method because I don't think people are motivated to go to the gym anyway. Just go and exercise at home. Okay, tip number 2 is shop wisely. And the first point is contributed by Cher from SG Budget Babe, one of the most influential financial bloggers of all time as well. So Dawn said her method is to actually choose household brands when you're shopping at the supermarket. You know, right? When you go to the Fair Price NTUC, there is some house brand like Pasar, Home Proud, okay, some fair price brand milk, and it's quite interesting because I think it kind of follows how the Amazon strategy work. Fair price will actually look at what are the products that are actually selling well in the supermarket, right? Then they see, hey, this demand very good, all the customers are buying this product. Then they will go and find an external manufacturer or supplier to go and make this product. And because they control their own supply chain, then they can list these products at a much cheaper price compared to the strongest demand product. So then Fair Price can actually undercut their competitors. But actually all these are just based on my guess and estimation. I don't really know the supply chain of Fair Price. But I mean, it's fun to think like that, right? Because it's just business. Whatever that your competitor is doing well, you also want to copy the idea and then have a higher profit margin on that. Okay, another idea from Colin Lau from Extreme Cheapskates. He actually mentioned that you can actually go visit the shops near the closing hours to actually get significant discounts when you shop. I think this is really prevalent for like bakeries, right? You do go to your neighborhood bakery shops, you see them selling bread like $1 for $1 when they are near closing time because they probably need to throw them away because of food safety reasons, right? These are more for perishable food that cannot be stored overnight. And another example is your sushi. If you go to supermarket like Cold Storage, they actually have sushi half price or discounted when it's after a certain period of time. I think these are all some very small and cheap hacks that you can use in your daily lives when you are doing this kind of shopping. Another thing about shop wisely that nobody talk about is to actually make use of Shopback and also those kind of shopping mall apps, right? Because all these kind of shopping mall actually have their own apps whereby you can actually scan their shopping receipts to go and redeem some points, and then those points can be exchange for the more vouchers and then encourage you to shop more at their store. So I think I have a few of them. One is Lendlease, another is Capital Star, and one more is Marina Square. All these have referral benefits one, so you can sign up for that. And then the other thing is online shopping, right? Shopback. You can actually use my referral link to go and sign up for Shopback, so that when you actually click from Shopback, the link will actually take you to the merchant website, and then you can get some cashback if you have completed a purchase. And I think how Shopback works is quite similar to how affiliate works, right? Like I refer you all to go and buy this product or sign up for a product, you get a little bit of cashback. So I think it works the same way as an affiliate marketing partnership. Yes, so those are just things that you can shop wisely with, some tactics that have not been mentioned by other people. But let's take a look at the third tip, right, which is paying with the right card. And the first contributor is coming from Chong, Honey Money SG. Use the right credit cards for rewards or cashback, and also take advantage of sign-up gifts because they can be quite attractive. Okay, I talked about this many times already. If you are an adult with at least a 3-month pay slip, just go and sign up for credit card using my referral link down below, of course. You can at least get like $200, $300 in cash. And actually, if you want to forgo the cash and go for the gifts, it can even worth up to $400 plus, $500 plus dollars. Things like Apple Watch, Nintendo Switch, sometimes you even get like a Dyson vacuum cleaner, or even more attractive stuff that are worth above $500. You have to see what are the current SingSaver deals. So I think if you do not have any credit card from any company yet, just go and take advantage of the first user. Remember to use my link because I also get some cashback referral as well. And then once you have the credit card, then maybe you can start to look at how you can optimize your spending within cashback cards or rewards cards or even miles card, right? I'll go through this in detail in my credit card playlist. You can click here to see my credit card playlist because I actually detail some of the strategies that you can use, be it whether you have a minimum spend or you don't have a minimum spend or you prefer miles, right? All these kind of things, you can look at what are the best credit card to spend in that playlist. But I have also shared in that article that credit card is really more for those people who can control their spending and they can keep track of their spending, right? Because it's like a double-edged sword, you see. You can really fuel your expenses. For people who cannot control, then it will actually double up their amount of spending. And eventually, if they are not able to pay up their credit card debts, then they will incur really high interest. And that's not what I want to see for people signing up credit cards. It's really for people who have self-control. Now, if you don't have control, then you better don't sign up for credit card. And let's come to the final tip, which is finding more ways to actually earn more income, which is my contribution as well, because I actually talk about side hustles in my previous video. Thinking of how to actually earn more money at the top line, because there's only that much you can save at the bottom line, right? Your expenses. There's only so much that you can cut down on. You still need like a minimum expenses to live and be subsistent. So what happens is you need to actually expand the top line, the revenue line. You need to increase your revenue source or find alternative sources of income. And I detailed out in my previous side hustle video, but just sharing some of the ideas, right? Maybe you want to teach tuition if you are good and educated enough and you love to teach students and engage with the younger community people, then I think tuition is good for you. Maybe you also want to try some wedding related freelance services like photography and makeup artists. In fact, one of my viewers also suggested that you can actually be a pet caretaker for people who need to go overseas and their pets have no one left to take care of, right? I think that's a great side hustle. Maybe you can earn like $20 to $40 per day, depending on how difficult is the pet. Okay, just need to take care of the cat and dog. If you love those kind of animals, right? I'm sure a lot of people does. So really, there are a lot of ideas for side hustle. You just have to explore yourself, see which one is suitable for you. But I must say that side hustle is really not for everyone, because once you turn it into a hustle, it means business, right? It means you have costs and you have revenue. Maybe you will not enjoy doing it anymore, because I've seen some people, they love to bake cakes, they love to cook. But once they treat it like a business, right, then maybe they really lost their passion. Because you see, when hawkers actually set up their own store, they don't eat their own food one, you know, because they got so sick of eating their own food. They probably eat like 1,000 overtimes to do a taste test. So I think there is some sacrifices that need to be made if you are doing a side hustle. So I think it's really important to know what you want yourself. Of course, that Today or CNA article is really long, right? There are a lot more other inputs talking about the inflation. I think there was a very cute comment from a contributor, right? Because they're saying that groceries in Singapore are so expensive, then they probably have to travel to Malaysia to go and buy it back. I feel that this kind of thing is really penny wise, pound foolish. Unless you really have a car and you really need to travel to Johor Bahru to do some business matters, or you need to visit friends and relatives. Otherwise, making the trip there just to do groceries doesn't cut it. I think you still need to spend on petrol, need to spend on those tolls. And even if you do not really drive a car, are you really going to lug out all your groceries from Johor Bahru to Singapore? Do you know how heavy it is and how much savings can you get compared to you just buy from your nearby neighborhood stores? So when we are saving money, cannot be penny wise pound foolish. Some money must spend, still must spend. Most importantly, spend wisely, spend within your means. Don't go over luxurious spending. Maybe cut back on some of the things that you can go without. And like dieting, right? Eat everything in moderation. Same thing for shopping. Spend everything in moderation. I don't think it will be too good to control every spending aspect because that will be quite a meaningless life. So if you are really curious on increasing your income via side hustles, I do have a previous video on side hustles that you can take a look over here because I discussed some of the pros and cons and some of the examples of side hustles that you could do. So with that, thank you for watching. My name is Christopher. This is Honey Money SG, steering young adults to financial independence.